You're now in a place called Toten. It's close to Mjøsa, the biggest lake in Norway. This property has been in my family since around 1900. My grandparents came here then, and I have kept some things they planted, apple trees and fruits. The climate is, as we call H4. Yeah, H4. My ground is clay, leire. And my grandparents started this garden with the vegetables and fruits, and my father and mother take it over and kept it the same way. And I started, I'm born here, and started to open it as a public garden in 2011. And I started running it the same way as my parents and grandparents, but I, after some years, started to ask some questions about how is this the right way? Removing everything from the garden instead of using it. So I usually say that in my garden the nature decides 80% and I'm deciding 20. And I have hedges that I cut to make a strict holding around this nature that makes it chaotic then. So I have made about 80% of the plants in the garden, very much from seeds, bought in England. And many of these flowers, these seeds I bought for more than 20 years ago, planting them at one place, and now they're flowering, for instance, 20 meters away from that point, because I'm allowing them to find their new positions. And it's free plants. Yes. Here I've made this hedge myself out of cuttings, so this is free. Yes. This one I made from seeds from about 20 years ago, and covering the ground very, very well. Here there are coming now geraniums made from seeds, but I haven't planted any of these here. They have found the position they really like to be, and then they're allowed to be here. And I have had some good help from friends making this trellis, because I've learned that planting close to houses is very stupid, both for the soil and also for this to avoid diseases. So then I plant these big plants, and so that I can faste them, what's that? Bind them into the trellis then. And in here I am also using the wild flowers, wild plants to make ground cover. And this is usually a plant that all gardeners hate, because they do not want to have wild flowers in their garden. So they work and work and work to remove it. I did also. But then I started thinking that this, I'm not quite sure of the English name, det er jo kjerringrock in Norwegian, is quite beautiful. So now I'm using this as a ground cover, and it's important that the plants I have planted have good conditions. And it seems to be good cooperation. Here I have also made different trellis to make the plants high, and to so here it's also the plants have found their own position, except of these clematis and roses. The geraniums have positioned itself, and also one of these ground covers I'm very fond of, this lamium. So this I'm very fond of trees. I think it's a bit hopeless that Norwegians do not want trees. That's because they have to move all these leaves in the autumn and winter. All the leaves I take back to the garden. Every leaves that positions in the flower beds is okay. And the leaves that comes here at my paths, I try to remove. Because if they're lying here, they convert over to soil. And then it becomes weed. So I put it directly up into the flower beds the shortest way. So I am not practicing this compost squares behind the garage. I'm composting everything in my garden. I'm not. That saves me for 200-300 trillebår. What's that? Each year. So this with the putting it back, it's so interesting and seeing that the flowers like this. If you see now, you can still see all this from the last year, and also this what I took all these leaves here. I took through this compost quern and put it down here. So.
No problems with snails?
No, my property, we do not have this hopeless snail. And that's a very interesting question because many of my gardeners say, oh, you can run it this way, but you do not have these snails. So, of course, it's interesting when that comes because it's in the neighborhood. But then I've learned this, that my aim is not to get the perfect garden. My aim is to have healthy plants and share a little bit. But of course, if they eat my complete garden, I guess I say something else. But I am prepared to share, yes. You see a little bit of these things from last year. But this is also interesting, this culture we have. We've learned that it's difficult to discuss what's nice and what's not nice. But I have also learned that the most beautiful thing is to have a naked black brown earth between each plant. And you're clever keeping away all the weeds all summer. But now when I've learned that that is quite wrong, then I do not think this is so ugly anymore because I know it's so healthy for my plants. So I think it is much this culture about how we are raised to think it's the right thing then. You may say that my garden is a lazy garden because I want to make the nature to do as much as possible. So for instance, I have 16 trees with fruits, but it's only one of them that's positioned in the lawn. Because if you position one and one tree in a lawn, then most gardeners want to to cut all the lawn close into the tree, and that's work. Yes. So of my 16 trees is one I cut around. The others are positioned in together with the flowers, together with the sitting space or something to avoid this job then. This tree I also made from a cutting and on a trip in Sweden. So all these salix I'm very fond of. They are growing fast, what I like. And underneath there is also a place in the garden that nature make all the work. So there you can still see the things from last year, and all the leaves landing on this parking space I put directly up into the flower bed. These apple trees my father planted 50 years ago. So around this I also have planted ornamental plants then. Many of them made from seeds. These hostas, for instance, are made from seeds. So a very low cost garden.
That information about the garden?
Yes, I've made these QR codes because when I open the garden in June and have it open in June, July and August, my guests do not believe me when I say that I haven't removed anything from the garden. But then they can use these QR codes and they see how bad it looks in April. Then you can see all the materials from last year. Here I also, with purpose, I planted these wild bregner. And these are also good to eat. Unfortunately, I have not learned it. But they are also very beautiful, I think. And I've made a lot of arches and trellis and 4 plants far away from the walls. Here I've, of course, planted the rosettes and I planted the edge, but these campanulas have come from seeds by themselves. And I try to have flowers that come from now until the frost comes. Now you have these achilleas, and then you have these campanula, then you have the roses, and in the end I have the clematis then. These apple trees my grandfather planted. He was born in 1882, so they're quite old. I'm not quite sure exactly how old they are, but this is the good old Haugmann, og så det Signe Tillage, og så det Sjöstaholm. So it is a lot of work pruning them each spring, but I'm taking all the cut away through this machine and put it back around the apple tree. And I have also an experience about this, where to plant in my garden, because of course all plants need sun, but they do not need 10 hours in the south-facing position, because at least here at Toten, it becomes so much watering. A lot of work with the watering, and also when the flowers start to flower, it's a poof and then it's finished. So all my flowers now are facing northwest or east, as little as possible towards south. So here I have, it's a bit early for them, but these peonies are facing directly north. So north is there. But you see, they are able to make flowers. These plants, I have some pots, quite a lot of pots with flowers that are not, they die if they become -degrees. So all these pots are moved inside in September and are standing in a basement room with light on and positioned into the garden the first weekend I open now in June. So these plants are about 20 years old. So it's a very cheap way of having flowers too then. So these flowers then all summer. I mentioned this about all the work with the water. So if you want to have healthy plants, they need to have food and water. So 15 years ago I bought this, I'm not quite sure what it is in English, but this dryppvanning. Yeah.
Drip irrigation.
Yes. We have a company here at Toten selling them, and they were established in approximately 80% of my garden. Because here in Toten we have very, very expensive water. And I guess
Just beside the lake.
it's unfortunately also the electricity is quite expensive too. So although I have Mjøsa close, it's not that close because it's a lot of meters to raise the water. So that's too expensive too. And as you know, putting up spreder, sprinkler, a day when you have 25 plus degrees and a little bit of wind, then only approximately 5% gets into the ground. So that's very stupid when the water is so expensive. So this irrigation system, then I'm very, very fond of, because then 90% of the water gets where it's supposed to be. Yeah. This is also a very old fuchsia. Bought it, then it was 15 centimeter high and cost 15 crowns NOK. Yeah. So this is a very cheap way of getting flowers. But of course I'm depending on my two sons that are able to move them inside. And here you also see this typical of a cottage garden is that we do not have this 90-degree squares. We're using these ovals instead of squares. And the paths are going in curves. And if we see this flower bed here, I've only planted 2 of the plants. I've planted and made these out from the seed. And this one I planted because this is, if you come in August, this is a bit higher than me and looks like tiny pink flowers. But this Astrantia has made its own position. This one has found its own position, this Talictrum, the Stormarikåpa, Alchemilla mollis, and also this Veronica. So they're finding their own position and get flowering the whole summer. I do not have a proper lawn. This is the natural lawn. And I think it works quite well. I never remove any of the cutting. It goes back to the lawn. And never moving any leaves. In the spring I just drive over with my lawner with this that cuts up and it goes back to the ground. And my greenhouse, it's more for flowers than for food, unfortunately, because I'm very fond of these pelargoniums, and they do not like rain on the flowers. And if a pelargonium is sheltered from the rain, one flower can be nice for more than a month. So then I think it's worth having it inside. My oldest is about 25 years, they too. But I do have tomatoes, basilicum, so we can take a look. So I'm only using organic soil. And I'm so lucky that I'm in the neighborhood, have a farmer with ecological hens. So I can... I'm paying a little bit to collect this. I may show you afterwards. It's my gold. And that's directly from the hen. When I'm picking up, it's quite warm. If I put my hand on it, it's very warm. And I'm using that directly. And that's interesting because I also learned you have to be very careful for these new fertilizers. But I never put it into the roots. I'm only putting on the top. So here you can see I put quite directly from the hen. And that all my pots here gets a thick layer of this from fertilizer from hens each Monday. And it is not warm during winter because I wanted to have this glass and not polycarbonate because I want to see outside. We are not able to look through this polycarbonate. So then I remove all these plants in winter and put them back here in Easter. My father, he planted these 2 lines with fruits for about 50 years ago. It's apples and pears and plums. And then he put these berries inside because it should be this eating area of fruit. But then each week then we have to cut the lawn around the apple tree and the pear tree and all these berries each week. And that's a lot of work. So then we rented this gravemaskin, and removed all the lawn between these two fruit lines, and used this big skuffe and put these berries inside and between the apple trees. And then I were able to make a proper path with a dukebun. Yes, and then I put some perennials inside and made this edge plant. And now it's no work at all compared to cutting the lawn each week. And I have enormous amount of berries and apples and everything. So, but never naked ground there. So here you also can see that I tried to plant one perennial in the edge to make it a little bit tidy. This weekend I will cut the lawn in this area too. I wouldn't cut it when this was flowering, so I had to wait. So this have found their own position in the lawn. So now I'll... Making rooms, and we're making trellis then away from the house, better conditions for the plants. I'm making these curved lines then. And having these wild bregner. These trees are planted approximately 30 years ago to make this room. So this is a quite special LAND acre. Still very much green, but there are coming flowers. This is probably almost a problem. Then I got some hundreds of this flower, but it covers very well the ground then. So this was my former tidligere vegetable area. Here I have now changed it to a position to have all my flowers that I have for sale in a way that it's easy to keep them healthy. Then we're visiting my little shop in the garden, and here I tried to have some English things because of the garden is a cottage garden, but I also tried to have some local products. For instance, here I'm making cards with pictures from my garden. I'm selling these in 3 different sizes, so these are quite popular. And here I have English jewels made from an English artist, just to have English products, of course with flowers and apples. And I'm lucky having a friend picking berries, because my time is not enough. So she is using berries from my garden, and I receive finished products to have for sale in my shop. I also tested out some different equipment or tools for gardening. So I am the only one in Norway having products from this Palares company in Spain, making the products in carbon steel. So the advantage is not that you do not have to sharpen them. So they are excellent quality. I have also written 3 books, and now the last is a new small book. And this one is an essence of this way of running the garden, as I think it's very important to tell all my visitors then. So then they can buy this if they don't remember everything I said. Here I also cooperate with the local producer of yarn. So this wool yarn is made from sheep working in the forest in Toten. So I designed this cardigan this winter using this wool from Toten. So it's a Norwegian woman making this yarn. And this top is made by a friend of mine, sewing these products related to the garden then with the roses. This wreath is also made only of products from the garden. It is apple branches, it is salix, and this is the leaves of the tree, acre tree, lønnetre. So I have courses first in September making autumn wreaths, and then I have a new course in December making Christmas wreaths, only with a short distance material.